We have to talk about Korra. This is going to be more of a rant. I will be doing a proper case in the future once I finish my rewatch. With that being said, I have been seeing a lot of negativity about Korra the character. Most of the comments are along the lines of she's a terrible avatar, a terrible character, she's weak, she sucks, comparing her trauma to other characters, which is never a good thing. Whew. Korra has had a completely different experience to the previous avatars, including Aang. The Korra we meet in season 1 was isolated for her entire life. She stood in the South Pole until she was 17, and that wasn't her fault. The White Lotus ordered that she stay there so that she didn't get killed or kidnapped. She had never been in a real fight. She never had to venture out and find her own masters. Everyone she bended with was never actively trying to kill her. So when she gets to Republic City, of course she doesn't know how to act. Of course she doesn't know how to handle a real threat. This is going to end up more than one part because I have a lot to say. We have to talk about Korra Part 2. As a creator and an artist myself, I strongly believe that life imitates art and vice versa. And while I know that it is just a show, I do believe that media can tell us things about ourselves as well as other people and other experiences. So when I see people either actively ignoring or just dismissing or even making fun of the mental health aspects that go into Korra's character, I get miffed. They're quick to say that she's weak and annoying and stupid. Meanwhile, she was just an inexperienced 17-year-old that was flung into responsibility after being isolated for most of her life. She was terrified of Amon. She'd never experienced anything like him, and he threatened to take away one of the core pieces of her being. Actually, no, he did take it away. That was just the start of her PTSD and depression. Korra's identity was the Avatar. Bending and being the Avatar was all she really knew. And when that was taken away from her, she didn't see her life as something worth living. And that's not fucking funny. That's not a joke. I'm not done. We have to talk about Korra Part 3. Continuing with the topic of mental health, unfortunately, I think a lot of viewers either downplay or ignore Korra's trauma. And I understand a lot of viewers are young or are children, but like for the whole ass adults, I really want to know what your excuse is. A lot of people rag on Korra for not bouncing back fast enough. Like, oh, she had 3 years. Why is she still weak? Why is she still losing? I'm gonna ask you something. Do you hear yourselves? Shortly after Korra had to deal with Amon, she had to deal with Unalaq. And then the thing everyone tried to keep her safe from ended up fucking happening to her. At the hands of her uncle just to rub salt in the wound. After that, everyone and their mother blamed her for everything that happened afterwards. And then shortly after that, this guy shows up and fucking poisons her and nearly kills her. But according to everyone, I guess she just has to walk that shit off, I guess? But that's the funny part. If she had gotten over it quickly, everyone would have called her a Mary Sue. And I sure do wonder why. I'm still not done. We have to talk about Korra Part 4. I know this hasn't been as lighthearted as my other videos, but this is a very sore subject. Legend of Korra is targeted to an older demographic than Avatar. And because of that, we do get a more realistic and in-depth look of mental illness and trauma. And I've stated before that I am a firm believer that life imitates art and vice versa. So when I see people outright demonizing Korra and saying that she's weak because she just didn't get up fast enough, it worries me because it makes me wonder how they would treat someone in real life if they think that everyone who just didn't get up fast enough is weak. At one point in the show, Korra is literally haunted by a nightmarish version of herself. And that's already years after what happened. Because trauma doesn't run on a timer. It doesn't just stick around for a bit and then stop. And portrayal-wise, I'm glad that her experience wasn't just thrown out the window. I'm glad that she didn't take some magic happy pills and get better. Because that's not how it works. And I think as a society as a whole, we need to get better at taking this shit seriously.